Okay, Congressman, we've got about 12 minutes left. I want to move quickly now through a whole host of questions. For stations, a network break's coming up. It's our break. We're skipping it. The network's not taking it. Congressman Ron Paul is our guest till 30 after. Congressman, specifically on the economy, they told us 3 years ago we weren't in a recession. Then 2 years later, they admitted we'd been in one for over a year. Now they said a year ago, green shoots. Now they're saying again, the economy's wonderful. We've turned the corner when every major indicator of joblessness and you name it is getting worse and worse. Anybody on Main Street knows we're in trouble. Maybe it's good for bankers getting billion-dollar bonuses. What do you, as an economist, as a doctor, as a congressman, what do you see happening? What is the data you're seeing? Is this just more political hype to stall the imploding poll numbers of Barack Obama?
Yeah, I think so. And the one group that is doing quite well is that Goldman Sachs group. I mean, their business is booming and their profits are booming, and they've lived off the government. But no, I think you'll see little blips upward, and maybe they announce on the news it's all propaganda. Well, housing is doing so much better because it didn't go down quite as quickly as last month. Instead of losing 700,000 jobs last month, we lost 500,000 jobs, and you're supposed to feel good. So it's a lot of propaganda. They first want you to be very fearful and get you to go along with what they want to do, and then they turn around and they want to convince you they're doing such a grand job, and they'll tell you everything is wonderful. But there's a limit to how long they can fool the people. You know, if you've been out of work and you don't have enough money to feed your kids, and you listen to this, you just don't buy into this stuff. So I've always argued that the people are generally 10 to 15 years ahead of Congress, whether it has to do with foreign policy or the drug war, or now even on some of these things that they're complaining about now. And that's why these events are very important, to get the attention of the members of Congress, because ultimately they like their job, and if they know there's enough people out there, they're gonna pay attention, and they'll change their voting.
Well, Congressman, when we look at what the Federal Reserve and others are doing, you on this show before have said we should have grand juries and others look at criminal activity. I mean, what about Goldman Sachs? I mean, it's most of the financial team Obama has. It's clearly a conflict of interest. And when Bernanke and Paulson and others and Geithner get asked about it by you and others, they just laugh at you, basically. I mean, can you lay out a plan or put the bug in people's ear of who should go for a criminal investigation of this?
Well, I can't list names, but it should be looked at, and that's one advantage it would have if we were actually allowed to look at these books and find out what kind of deals the Federal Reserve makes. But, it's a little bit more than Bernanke shaking hands with somebody and say, well, we're going to send you over $10 billion to tide you over. It's the immorality of the system, the violation of the Constitution, the idea that you can print money, the idea that gold is evil and that deficits don't matter. It's this philosophic argument that is so crucial, and we've suffered from it. Both left and right have argued the case. You have big government conservatives and big government liberals. It's not like, the conservative Republicans are for small government. You know that. They're not. But this is what we have to address, the immorality of the system. And somebody said, well, you know what, if we could just put Bernanke and a few people in the administration in prison, this would solve it. But really, the Congress is complicit in all this. I mean,
well, I agree. I mean, they asked the Fed to control interest rates and all those points you've made, but the issue here is if we arrest these people for their crimes, that illustrates and breaks their back right there to put in a constitutional system. So I'm just saying skip all the middle phases and go right to arresting the crooks. I mean, you have this special interest group of bankers who are above the law and can steal trillions of dollars, $23.7 trillion, and none of us dare.
Well, I don't quite have enough information to tell you who's going to get arrested or should be arrested and who's going to do the arresting,
But your audit goes a long way towards beginning that process.
That is the purpose, is to find out the information, because I've argued that, I don't talk about control of monetary policy. I don't talk about a new monetary system. I'm talking about transparency and opening up the books and then going from there. People are upset and angry, and they know. And if these books get open about the time we have prices going up, that will be the inflation tax. People, they're getting hit but not as bad as if you have a CPI going up for 10, 15, 20%. That's when the people are really going to be upset, because they've lost a lot already. People lost a lot in the value of their homes and their stocks. But what happens if they lose the value of the purchasing power of their weekly paycheck or Social Security beneficiaries? And that is going to be a big event, and that is something, no matter what the government does, they can't take care of it, because the more they go into deficit financing, once the psychology shifts, it's amazing that we doubled the money supply and you didn't have a tremendous shift in psychology. Gold holds its own and it does go up, but there will be a point when the psychology shifts and they say, well, we need to help the elderly and the unemployed, so we're going to double their paycheck, their check, because they can't live on what they're getting. That psychology then is going to be the panic,
and then the inflation.
You don't know what will happen to your currency. That's what
so what happens. It could happen overnight. Quickly now, in the time we've got left.